What's going on, everybody? What's going on? This is Positive Vibes with Winsome, 78.6 FM Yomaton. We are back. I'm so excited to be back in the air this week. You know why? Sports are coming back on, man. This is the first time I got to see the NBA starting some scrimmaging again, right? You get to see folks running up and down the court, get to see some of that live action from some of our favorite athletes again. Wasn't it sad? Remember a few weeks ago, a few months back, when even WWE, you're watching wrestling and the stands were just empty. Remember that feeling? It was just really sad to watch the wrestlers still having to go along with their script, acting like the audience was still there clapping and moving. It was really sad, but you know what? People were still watching. Things were still happening. The storyline was still moving, just like us, right? Just like in real life, no matter what was going on around us, we were still moving. Hey, great. Thanks for coming in and checking in with us today. We're going to be talking a couple of things. First, we're going to talk about sports, why people missed it so much, right? Do a quick segment on that. Then we're going to come back and we're talking about some self-love. Oh, yeah, you weren't ready for that, were you? That's right. We're going to talk about some self-love. How to love yourself, man. You may have forgot over the last couple of months why it's so important to take time for you, right? Then we're going to come back and talk about self-awareness. So in the three parts that we have with you today, we're going to talk about some sports coming back to life, bringing us back. Then we're going to talk about self-love, and then we're going to finish up with some self-awareness, right? Knowing who you are. Kind of ties into what we talked about a few weeks ago. And last week we talked about finding your purpose, finding your why. So as we get going, man, just think about that. Why do you like sports? What is it about watching these athletes on television, these larger-than-life figures doing things that you either A, wish you can do, B, know you used to be able to do, or C, always dreamed of doing, right? Point blank period. Like, I used to grow up watching Michael Jordan. Favorite athlete of all time is Michael Jordan. I got so many stories. I could tell you so many reasons why. But I tell you, I've never played basketball a day in my life. Not at all. I never tried out for the high school team, never tried out for the elementary school, never jumped out there because I knew even stepping out there and trying, it was just not fun for me. I remember we had a community center event back when I was probably about 13, and they threw me in the game, and I was like the Dennis Rodman guy, just running up and down the field, just a physical guy, right? But when I would get home and I would find out that the Bulls, now this is me growing up in California, I would hear that the Bulls are playing, right? And I would want to see it, not because I was a huge Bulls fan, but because watching Michael Jordan move was magical. So you're watching the Bulls team. You're a fan of the Bulls just because it's Mike. Just picture this with me, right? The team is down 15 points. Everybody on the court. Everybody is Bill Cartwright, one of the center. You got Horace Grant, John Paxson. You got, I think, Steve Kerr at the time, Scottie Pippen. This is before Dennis Rodman, okay? So you got everybody, 15 points. Jordan's drinking his Gatorade. And we're like, oh, man, you hear some of your friends, Bulls ain't going to pull this out. Jordan comes up off the bench. If you're a Bulls fan or you're a Michael Jordan fan, you knew at that moment this is about to be fun. It's about to get interesting. He would get on there and do moves, take shots, and just magically fly across the court. I've never seen anything like it. I always wanted to be able to do it, but I was too short, didn't have the hops. Michael Jordan, greatest athlete. There's no such thing as being behind too far for that he couldn't come back and win. I love watching track and field for the same reason. You see folks lined up. They're staggered around the track, right? Pop! Everybody starts running. They're going. You see somebody get a little late start, right? They're kicking. They might be behind 3 or 4 people. Picture this with me. 3 or 4 people. Then you see them get past that first one. Couple steps to get this stride right? To get past that second one. Couple steps. You're like, wait a minute. This person might have a chance. Get past that third one. Hot, and they're still fighting. Picture that 200 meter, halfway around the lap. There's that one person they got to beat, right? That one person they have to get past to get to the finish line and take gold. And when they do, it's amazing to see. Because as human beings and as a people and as just being you, think about it. When someone is defying the odds, someone is doing something incredible, something magical, it's awe-inspiring. It reminds us that we can do anything that we put our minds to. We can be anyone that we truly want to be. You see, what happens is we forget that, right? Do you remember being young and you have I want to be a doctor. I want to be a lawyer. I want to be a police officer. Those are always the main jobs, right? That you would hear growing up in school. I want to be a teacher. I want to be a scientist. There's so many moving pieces in the world that once you start exploring and expanding upon, you start seeing how much magic is happening that you didn't even realize until you see it. Being a part of sports, not just as a fan, but watching these athletes grow, you go on a journey with them, right? What wrestling does so well is they tell a story every week. It's showing you something different, bringing a different character out for you. So that's what makes wrestling so interesting. Vince McMahon and that team does an outstanding job of keeping you emotionally invested in wrestling. As with other sports, it's the drama, the real life. Like, this isn't scripted. This is real. Whatever happens, if he takes that swing talking baseball and he misses, that's a strike. You feel it. Your favorite player can be up there, but you never know what you're going to get. And that's what makes sports so exciting. That's why we miss them so much. So who are you rooting for this year, right? I have been keeping up with the NBA enough to have a favorite team, but I do have some players that I watch. I do watch LeBron. You know, I really, really, truly appreciate what he does on the court. Even at his age, he's still doing some amazing things. And you got to remember, there's a lot of NBA players in the past that have gone through their 30s and early 40s and still went on to win championships doing magic on the court. And he's one of those players that still has a lot. Vince Carter just retired. I watched him in the slam dunk contest a few years back and watched his story as he went, you know, cousin to Tracy McGrady, if I'm not mistaken. These are guys that we grew up watching, right? And a lot of these guys are retiring. So I got to start paying attention to these young guys coming up. I'm reading all these posts about the young players, the Lakers making moves in the offseason, what the team looks like now. And yeah, as you can tell, I'm from California. So yeah, the teams I'll talk about normally will be East Coast because that's what my family's talking about, right? Another thing that brings us together, family. When it comes to sports, think about your uncle, your brother, your auntie, your moms that wears the hat and the T-shirt. When they see the favorite college team or favorite NBA team, NFL team, it's always fun to be able to bond over these teams and these players. And you don't realize it. You may not have realized it this entire time, but you are emotionally invested, if you're a fan, in the success and failures of these teams. So you start seeing people with the, what do you call it? If I do this, it's bad luck. I can't wear this jersey on Tuesdays. I can't, if they play at night, I can't be outside past 5. I mean, it's funny to hear some of the things that people feel will make a difference in the actual game. I was watching this show called Always Sunny in Philadelphia, where they showed like the extreme fandom of what fans do to make sure their team wins. And it's just hilarious to see some of the things we go to because we are emotionally invested in these teams and these players. So sports are coming back slowly but surely. They're creeping back onto our screens. You're starting to see about moves. You're starting to hear about the NFL gearing up. Starting to see players talking about contracts right now. It's really exciting. I mean, no matter what's happening with COVID-19, we're starting to get enthusiastic about what's happening in the future. And sports is one of those things that we've all missed. I saw, what was the most recent? It wasn't baseball. It was actually football, NFL. Terrell Owens, I can't even tell you how fast he is and how old he is. Terrell Owens is out there racing young athletes right now. And, you know, I can only imagine being that guy that retired way before you wanted to, and you're seeing all these guys around you, these younger cats that you're like, hey, I would have smoked him when I was playing back in the day. But you can't now, right? So what's the next best thing? You can't just suit up and play and run drills. You don't want to get hurt, but you can still run. T.O., I applaud you. I know you'll probably never hear this show, but T.O. is one of my favorite players. I know in the locker room he had a different storyline than he had in the field, but he was one of those football players, just like Michael Jordan to me. I loved watching T.O. play in his prime. And we're talking about San Francisco when he was over there doing the wide stride on the star of Dallas. That was one of my favorite moments growing up, watching him upset the Dallas Cowboys because he was scoring touchdowns or running to their star and just rubbing it in their faces that he can do it. Awesome talent, awesome capabilities and abilities of these people. And that's why we miss sports so much. Give it back. Bring it back. It's on the way, everybody. This is 78.6 FM Yomaton. This is Positive Vibes with Winsome. Talking to you guys right now about why we miss sports so much. And what about sports was so tragic to be without it, and how people were still trying to keep the narrative. I saw a couple of memes of people on the sports channels and the interviewers and the reporters really didn't have much to talk about, right? That's why it was so crazy when the Michael Jordan special on Netflix came out. Did you hear about all the beef? Yeah, if you missed it, hey, Michael Jordan came out with his special on Netflix, and other players were kind of upset at how they're portrayed on that. But I will tell you one thing before we leave out of this break. I grew up watching Mike. I don't know what happened in the locker room. I don't know what happened behind the scenes. I don't know what happened on the plane or on the bus, right? But I will tell you that as far as even my job today, I learned so much from watching the Bulls growing up about not only leadership, followership, being a team member, being a teammate, but even on the other sports that I did play, or in the other sports that I did play, as far as running track, the 4x1, the 200, the 110 hurdles, the 300-meter hurdles, all of those, I always incorporated what I would learn from watching the Bulls. You know what made our track team so great in Barstow, California? Yeah, it was probably the high desert. What made that team so great was everybody knew their role. It made it magical. So I knew, hey, I'm the short 300-meter guy. I'm going to get you guys at least a silver or gold every time we go out, right? I knew I was one of the legs on a 4x1. And everybody on a 4x1 knew exactly who they were. We knew if we were the first person, the second person, third, or fourth on that squad, we had a role. We had to run a certain time to get a certain result. That's why sports are so magical, because even if it's one sport, you can tie it in to everything going on around you. Just like a team you work with today, right? When everyone knows their role, everyone's trying to reach the same goal, right? Think about it. So this team, going back real quick before the break, this team back in 1997, undefeated. Every event throughout that year, we had somebody who was key. And our coach did a magical job of letting us grow ourselves and with each other, communicate our strengths and weaknesses to each other. It was amazing to watch. And that's why communication, even to this day, is so important to me, because when we started talking to each other and being honest and putting everything on the table, we got better. So I went from my junior year being that pretty much a great team or a good team to my senior year, we were a great team. For my folks who are from Barstow listening to this, you remember, we had that ability to go out there and we knew just looking at the opponent what we were going to do before we left. Sports are amazing. And I pulled that away from the Bulls. The Bulls knew everybody's position. Everybody knew their role on the court. They knew Mike had to score a certain amount of points. Dennis Rodman knew he had to get rebounds. Horace Grant knew he had to be the muscle. And Bill Cartwright, when he was out there, knew he had to get rebounds as well and block shots. John Paxson, Steve Kerr, if you listen to their stories, they knew that when the ball came to them, they had to make the shot. We got one shot at this. We got to do it. Mike's passing me the ball. I got to do this. It's in my hands. And that's like us. That's why sports are important. When we know our role, when we know our purpose, when we know our why of why we're doing things, right? Just like on the court, when we know where we fit, it makes us better, makes us stronger, and you'll be fascinated at the result. Talked last week about that. Know your purpose, know your why. Sports are amazing. Sports are fun. That's why we missed them. This is Freestyle Saturday. So in case you didn't know, on Freestyle Saturdays, what I do is I elicit friends and say, hey, I need a topic. Send me a topic. Bam. Friends send me topics. I went to a group. I want to give a quick shout out to my group that helped me out today. You know who you are. Everybody over there from Team Kadena, thank you guys for hooking me up with the topics today. All my Team Kadena fam, my FSS fam, my superintendents and leads, thank you guys for hooking me up. My young airman threw some topics at me for the next couple of weeks. You guys are amazing. So this is the first Freestyle Saturday. Promise that I try it. Throw me a topic. I got to put my thoughts together and come with it and bring it. Number one, of course, we're going to talk why we love sports. So that was the freestyle, why we love sports. Coming back, self-love, self-care, right? And then we're going to talk about self-awareness. Talk to you after the break. Yeah. Welcome back to Positive Vibes. Positive Vibes. This is Winsome 78.6 FM Yomaton. We are back. Guys, Freestyle Saturday. Promise you guys we're going to talk about some things. I had some great friends of mine sending me some topics for today. So, self-love, self-care is one of those things that, I don't want to even speak lightly on it because it's so important for each and every one of us. And if anybody's listening in that was listening in for this topic, I don't want to let you down. So there's a couple things. I found a great site called a life hack, right? So consider like somebody hacking into the computer. Right? I'm hacking into your brain. I'm hacking into your life real quick. I want to talk about a couple of topics to how to make sure you are taking care of you. You are loving you. And why is it important? Just listen to the words. Self-care. Loving yourself, right? It's important. Those words should tell you right now, you can't do anything else if you don't love yourself. If you ain't taking care and appreciating who you are as an individual. So I got some of my favorites here I want to go down. And the first one is, move your body every single day and learn to love the skin you're in. Come on, man. I can't even put that in better words. Learn to love the skin you are in. Black, white, Chinese, Japanese, it doesn't matter. Listen to me. Love the skin you are in. Love who you are, what you bring to the world every day. You can't hate your way into loving yourself. It's just not possible. You got to love who you are. Embrace and love the things that make you different, all right? What makes you different is your hair. Is it your height? Is it your eyes? Is it your ear shape, your nose? Is it your body? What makes you different? Love those things. You know why it's important to love those things that makes you different? Because that's what makes you special. That makes you unique. That you are one of one. Love who you are. You see, people forget everything that has happened before today has been a miracle. Today is a miracle. You are automatically looking in the mirror. You defeated the odds of being here. You defied all odds. Love who you are. Your very existence is a miracle. And that's what people forget. They don't appreciate that every day is a blessing. Don't believe everything you think. You see, we have that voice in our heads, right? That our own critic that tries to keep us away from our dreams, our ambitions, our goals. Don't believe everything. Sometimes you got to tell that voice of doubt, right? And somebody on here is listening. I know you who you are, and I want to say thank you because you told me a few weeks ago to tell that voice to shut up, right? Don't doubt yourself, man. Stop believing everything you think. Start taking a step back and think, hey, I am more than this. I am more than this. You can be your own best friend, but you can also be your own worst enemy. Start loving yourself, man. Start appreciating everything you do, every day, your strengths, your weaknesses, turning your weaknesses into your strengths. That's self-love. You love yourself enough to change when you know you need to. Stop the comparison. Remember what I told you a little bit ago. You are one of one. I don't care how many millions and billions of people are on this planet. Guess what? You are one of one. There is no one in the world like you. So when you compare yourself to anybody around you, you're insulting yourself. You are singly a miracle and special. You. Don't take that away from yourself. Remember that. A lot of people will tell you, oh, well, I knew some guy that can do this or I knew that guy. Hey, that's cool. But you know what? I do it my way. I do it this way. And I'm magical. I'm special. I'm important. Everything I do is important. Take time for yourself to calm your mind. You see those people who take that day. Hey, boss, I'm going to take a day, man. Calm your mind. If you need a day, if you need to take a moment, take that second. Take that time for yourself to breathe and clear your mind and just be in the moment. That's something that we don't do enough is be in the moment. Because you know what? Especially right now with everything going on in the world, it's easy to get carried away and caught up with everything going on around us. So sometimes you got to pause, be in a moment. Don't get caught up with everything going on around you. You got your own story going on, like we talked about last week, right? You got your own story. Don't get caught up in everybody else's. Additionally, find something to be grateful for every day. Find something that you're grateful for. And there's a thing about being grateful. And I talked about this around Thanksgiving when I had a little special message go out to friends about gratitude. But when you are grateful for at least one thing, it helps you shift your mind and shift your energy and shift your mindset when you wake up with a spirit and a mind of gratitude, right? Appreciate just waking up. Gosh, I'm glad to be here today. I'm glad I got another day to see Yomatan, this beauty, this weather. Even though it's a little humid, it's blue. I'm right by the water. It's not too hot. It's not too heavy out. It's beautiful. And I appreciate just having another day. You see that mindset? That mindset is clutch. That mindset is critical. Because if you don't have it, then you're already starting off on the wrong track. You're already starting your day off wrong. How you going to love anything if you're already starting off negative, right? One important thing that we miss out on. A lot of us are loners. You got those people who say they're introverts or, they keep to themselves. But it's important to surround yourself with people that love and encourage you. You hear me? Remember I talked for the last couple of weeks, I told you, show me your 5 friends and I'll show you who you are, right? You got 5 negative people in your life. You got people who always remind you of negativity. Show me your 5 friends and I'll show you who you are. Surround yourself with those people who remind you how amazing you are, how special, unique you are, individually and wonderfully made, right? That's the phrase. Y'all know what I'm talking about. You are individually and wonderfully made. In those toxic relationships, I'm tired of hearing people say it's hard. Man, it's not as easy as it make it sound. It is so easy. You have to end toxic relations. Anyone who makes you feel anything less than amazing, anybody who is holding you back, anybody who is being that push-pull in your life. So we talked about sports a little bit ago. You got that person who has that leash on your back, right? That little rubber band leash. They let you run so far, but then they yank you back because of the relationship, the conversation, the aspect of, just not allowing you to grow. So I'm going to tell you this, man. Anyone who makes you feel less than who you are doesn't deserve to be a part of your story. You got to get rid of those people. Seek out the people who are doing things you want to do. You have to. I'm not trying to get too heavy. It's still all positive vibes. I'm trying to tell you, write it down. That's one thing that we fail to do. Write it down. Who are you? You have so many thoughts going on in your head. Sometimes your head may feel like it's going to explode. Write it all down, no matter how crazy, how scary. Keep a journal. Just keep it. You can tear it up. You can burn it. You can do whatever you want to after. But when you write it down and see it, it's in front of you. It's on paper. Hey, I was scattered. Trust me, today was freestyle, right? So I woke up today like, I don't know what I'm going to talk about. I don't know which direction I want to reach in. It's freestyle Saturday. I can talk about anything. But you know what I said? Center myself. Bam. I took those few moments and I reached out to my peeps. I said, hey, look, I usually do this by myself. But hey, I need y'all to help me be great. Let's do it. There were some ideas y'all are throwing on the table, and this is dedicated to y'all. Thank you. Write it down. I wrote it down. I could see it. And I guarantee you, my mind was at ease immediately after that. I was at ease. I was like, okay, this is easy. I know this. We can do this. I can see it now. I have a target. Let's go get it, right? Another saying is turn off and inwards. Relax. Relax. Sit down for a few minutes on your own. No TV, no distractions. Think about the wonderful things, not all this negative stuff. Think about the wonderful things that are happening in your life right now. What dreams do you have? How are you going to make those happen when we're allowed to travel again, if your dreams are traveling? How are you going to see those parts of the island, and when are you going to plan it, right? Just sit there. Take it all in. We spoke about being in the moment a little while ago. It's so important. If you want to love yourself, you have to know yourself. We're going to talk about self-awareness in a minute, so I ain't going to steal none of that thunder. But if you're going to love yourself, you have to love yourself and know yourself, right? 100%. Be realistic. Be realistic. I get it. Not every day is a good day, right? Not every day is a good day. There's no person who is happy every single moment of every day. Trust me, last week was a rough week. I lost like half my hairline last week, but you know what? I'm still standing. I still try to find the positives and the negatives, but I accept it. I'm human. I'm going to make mistakes. I feel emotions. It's okay. I'm human. Allow yourself to be human. Some people want to be superhuman. Some people want to be that guy they see on TV all the time. No, 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 no. That's a character. That person is scripted. You are a human with 456 emotions every day on average. You are a human being. Do you hear me? It's okay to be human. You have to accept that. You have to be able to forgive yourself. That one thing you did, or maybe a few times, made you feel bad, embarrassed, ashamed, you have to learn to let things go and move forward. You can't change the past, right? I tell my friends all the time, when you look back, you're going to hurt your neck. You can't change it. You got to be able to focus on your future, because that's the only thing you honestly, truly have control of, is your future. So if you're holding on to the past pain, you're holding on to past situations, that you're not moving forward. You got to let go of past trauma and wounds. This is hard. This is the hardest thing to do. And the truth is tougher. When we let go of things that happen to us, then we're letting go of those bricks that we have in our backpack. And like I tell my team that I work with, I say, hey, it's not what happened to us, it's what we do next. You got to take those bricks out your backpack so you can move lighter. You holding on to all that past pain, past trauma, past emotions, everything, you're looking back so much that you're not moving forward. You got to do that if you're trying to be happy. So those are the things. Next time you're feeling happy and on top of the world, write down the best things about you, your strengths, right? Write them down. This is what I like. Ooh, I feel good today. Why do I feel good? Know that. What makes you feel great? What makes you feel special? What makes you happy? Again, I don't want to steal thunder away from self-awareness, but come on, get in touch with your inner dialogue. If anything's less than loving, encouraging, and supportive in your life, get rid of it. I'll talk to you guys after the break. Self-awareness. Check this out. So we can talk about self-love, self-care. We can talk about why we love sports. We can talk about all those things, but the most important thing before you can even get to the level of self-love and self-care and self-worth is self-awareness, right? That accountability for who you are, getting to know yourself under stress, knowing how you've taken accountability for you and who you are as a person. I heard a saying not too long ago, and it was awesome. We always talk about self-made millionaire, self-made entrepreneur, self-made, but we don't talk about self-made when it comes to failures, right? We don't talk about self-made when it comes to mistakes, right? We don't take accountability. You don't hear as often as you do about the good stories as you do the bad. And that's the thing that has to switch in your mindset if you really want to truly understand self-awareness. And thanks for the topic. I want to say this may have been Haley or Murphy. Hey, thank you so much for this topic. We talk about this during emotional intelligence. So this is one of those things that's really near and dear to heart, man. You get to know yourself in different situations and whenever, like, it could be conversations, relationships, circumstances. How do you react? How do you respond? What is your physical reaction to it, right? So when the stress happens, how do you react to it? Do you just buckle? Have you taught yourself just to keep buckling? Or have you taught yourself to fight? A video we show is the fight or flight. And for generations, our bodies have genetically been encouraged to either fight or flight. So say that tough conversation we don't want to have, right? We avoid it. We walk away. That's flight. But say that's that conversation that we need to have. And a lot of people just attack it head on like, no, we're going to talk about this right now. The thing is, there's a middle ground. There's a balance. There's a brain that's working in between both steps of fight and flight. And you can choose to find that balance and understand how to create a balance for yourself. And the way you do that is by paying attention to your reactions when moments happen. So you have to be present in the moment. Talked about this a few minutes ago, right? You have to be present. You have to understand. And that's part of that going home and journaling, writing it down and asking yourself those questions. Could I have done better? Right? That's self-awareness. You're talking to yourself. You're getting that inner dialogue going, right? You're observing, hey, I responded this way, and this is the reaction I got back. That's not the reaction I wanted. So what can I do next time? How can I approach that differently? You see, the problem is people don't ask that question. They just keep rolling, keep attacking the same situation the same way, and they never get anywhere. But they're frustrated, and they can't explain why. That's the reason. Because you're not taking a step back and observing the ripple effect of how your reaction, especially if it was an emotional reaction, affected others. That's not being self-aware. You got to know yourself and how you've inflicted your pain or your thoughts or your emotions or your feelings on the other people. Pay attention to feedback, man. Everybody wants to you can journal it, write it down, and tell yourself. However, what are you getting back from other people? Are you asking those questions? So there's a phrase that says feedback is needed but rarely sought, right? People rarely get feedback because they're probably scared of what they're going to hear. They're probably scared to look in the mirror from somebody else's lens, right? Or look on somebody else's camera at themselves. That's that fear. But I'm going to tell you something about feedback. Feedback is key for change. There's no way you're going to change if you don't accept and interpret feedback. I had a nice long conversation yesterday with somebody that I care about a lot, and I was giving them tough feedback. Hey, this is the reality. This is you. This is who I see, and this is what I'm hearing. So I'm going to tell you, and these are things you can do. Now, if they do it, that's up to them. But I'm not going to fake it or lie or throw anything else. And you know what? That leads me to find a coach or mentor. There's no way you're going to be a better you without finding someone to help you reach that. Coach doesn't have to be somebody older than you. Coach doesn't have to be somebody better than you. A coach is somebody that's in your corner that's telling you, go get them. That's got you, that's with you, ride or die, right? You got those people. Now, a mentor is the person that's sitting and doing what you want to do, and they see you. Try getting a mentor that can't see you. It's not a mentor. You want a mentor that sees you, right? And they want to say, hey, this is who you are. This is who I see. You told me that you want to take actions to be a better person, a better individual. This is who I see, and these are my recommendations if you want to change. But what I tell you about feedback, it takes humility. Not everybody can take it. That emotional reaction kicks in, right? That ego kicks in. They automatically just want to admit that it's somebody else's problem before they look at themselves. And that's the most important piece of self-awareness, looking at yourself. Know your strengths. Understand who you are. Know your strengths and your weaknesses. Self-awareness. These are my strengths. Remember I talked a little bit ago, writing down in the journal what you want to do, who you are, how is your day. Know your strengths. Hey, I want to get better at this. I'm good at this, but I want to get better at this. I told one of my teammates yesterday, I said, hey, man, I suck at A, B, and C, but I've admitted that to myself, so I'm working on that, right? It's understanding who you are and what you're strong at. if you want that self-love, self-understanding, and you want to have that self-awareness, you have to be honest with yourself, and you have to accept that feedback from not only others, but yourself. And the one thing, too, don't get caught up in feedback being just a verbal thing. Hey, let me say it again. Don't get caught up in feedback just being a verbal thing. There are, countless ways someone can give you feedback without saying a word. Situational. You never see that person again. They avoid you, right? All their conversations with you are seemingly attacking, right? Or they got something behind their words. You feel it. You sense it, right? Not making eye contact. Guys, there's so many ways someone can be giving you feedback. And how are you interpreting it? And are you asking questions? Because, again, you're only focused on you. It's a selfish thing. We all have it. Sometimes we got to empathize with what that other person might have interpreted from you before. Are you changing what they might have interpreted from you? Are you changing for the better? So, again, you can't develop and grow. You can't be self-aware if you're not taking the action steps to be self-aware. You have to seek out a coach, mentor. You got to seek out feedback. You got to you have to have that inner dialogue with yourself. You got to write down every night, what can I do better tomorrow? And if you're a friend of mine on Facebook, you'll see one of the things I say, my goal is to be better than yesterday. Period, point blank. How can I do that? So I look at all the things that I fell short on today. Trust me, I had a list of them yesterday. Yesterday was a tough day. But the point was I got through it and I went home and I thought about it. And it had me mixed up for a sec. But you know what? That was my mind trying to interpret it. The one thing I didn't do until today, till maybe 3 hours ago, was write it all out. Write it down, my little notes. What I need to do, how to mentally prepare myself for what's next, right? Sometimes you have to be in the moment. You have to listen to that inner dialogue, have that tough conversation with yourself. Look yourself in the mirror like Michael Jackson said, I'm talking to the man in the mirror. I'm asking you to change. How can you be self-aware if you're only going by what you've always known? Because that's what you've convinced yourself you are. Nobody can tell you different. Nothing can change your mindset. That's stubbornness. That's ego. So you're not self-aware. You're just going off of what you believe, you want to understand, and what you've accepted. And it may not be your truth. Find your truth. Look in the mirror and accept good, bad, or ugly. This is who I am. And if you want to change it, you can take steps to change. If you're happy with it, hey, cool. Some people are. There's nothing you can tell them. They're good, man. Hey, this is who they're going to be. They don't care about asking themselves the tough questions. They don't care about being better than yesterday. They don't care about moving forward and trying to make sure they have positive relationships, positive networking, and positive vibes going on around them. They just want to be them, right? They're cool with just being in their own little world. Those people rarely ever achieve success. And when they do, when they fall, even the slightest trip, they fall hard because they fall alone. There's no one there to catch them because they never took those steps to build those relationships based on making themselves better. So when they fall alone. There's no one there to catch them. And sometimes they may have used to been someone there. They burned that bridge, and it may have been unintentionally. But you know why they did it? Because they weren't working on themselves. They may have had that coach or mentor, and they stopped listening. They stopped. Hey, I got this. I'm gone, right? What do you think happens to the coach or mentor that's trying to motivate you and trying to tell you your truth and what they see because you ask for feedback, and you're doing a complete opposite every time of what this person's putting out there? They see that you don't see you yet, right? So they take a pause and just watch you. They're not going to give up on you. They're watching. They'll get it. They may need to bump their head once, but they'll understand what I've been telling this whole time. That's what they're doing. It's like a boxing match, right? You see the coach in the corner squirting water in the guy's mouth, getting him ready for that fight. Hey, listen to me. This is what you got to do when you get in the ring. Hit him with 2 lefts and a right. You're going to win. It's automatic. He can't stop you. 2 lefts and a right. And then the boxer goes in, and he goes in with 2 rights and a hook and gets knocked out. Coach can't do nothing. You went in with 2 rights and a hook. I told you 2 lefts and a right? Because I see what you can't. I'm looking at you. You haven't quite been able to see yourself yet because you're not self-aware. Self-awareness takes, you got to get your ego out of that. You got to be humble. You got to accept feedback. You got to be honest with yourself. You got to know where you're at. You got to know if you can do better. I tell my people all the time, if you know better, it's Maya Angelou, do better, right? If you know better, do better. You can change. Stop limiting yourself and telling yourself that you can't, especially when you know you can. Throw yourself in the deep end. Read books. Listen to podcasts. Listen to motivational speakers. Go to seminars about improving your life, those areas that you're weak in, right? You can't do it alone. Stop. Get your ego out of it. Self-care, self-awareness. Get up and take care of yourself. Self-care. Love yourself. Love your body. Love the skin you're in. Get fit, right? And I ain't telling you have to be able to run in the Olympics, but I'm telling you, you got to be strong enough to survive every day. This humidity's coming. This weather's ever changing. You got to be strong enough to be able to do whatever you set your mind to without limitations. Don't create your own. So get up, get out, reflect on you. And if I haven't already said it, be careful what you say. People will remember. Be careful what you do. People will remember. Think about it before you do it. Take a second to breathe. Care enough to do that. Not just for yourself, but for the person on the other end. Care enough to pause, be in a moment. Think about how that might, whatever you say or do, may come across, right? That's being self-aware. Remember, I asked you, how do you react to situations? You don't always have to jump on it. You can pause, take a second. You owe yourself that. Nobody can take that away from you. You owe yourself a breath. And if anybody tells you different, you can't push pause in this conversation. You can't stop talking when I'm talking. They're crazy. You owe yourself. You owe it to yourself to think about what's about to come out, to think about what you're about to do. You owe it to yourself because you can only control you. Self-awareness, self-control, know yourself. Be accountable for everything you do. Seek feedback. Get you a coach or mentor to be honest with you. Know your hurdles, know your limitations, and take them away from yourself. If there's something that's keeping you from being great, knock that out of your universe. You go after, you knock those walls or limitations down, burn them down. Reflect daily. Write in a journal. Ask yourself the tough questions. Can I do better? What can I do different? Read books, podcasts, journal, and be careful what you say and what you do. Positive Vibes, 2020. Talk to you later.